for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs!
And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
It's the Sick Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for watching on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Tonight's topic, the defense core that the duo of Gordon and Hughes have assembled, what it looks like in Montreal, a couple of defensemen knocking on the door with the Laval Rocket, and, where the Montreal Canadiens rank vis-a-vis other defense cores in the National Hockey League. We're going to discuss it with Pierre McGuire in about a minute or two. But first and foremost, special thanks to some of our sponsors. We'll start with Playground. If you're looking for the ultimate entertainment destination, Playground is your ticket to nonstop thrills. Experience heart-pumping gaming action and world-class poker experience. Playground is the 2025 winner of Fan Choice Best Poker Room at the Global Poker Awards. Indulge your taste buds at their incredible restaurants. Let loose with live music, electrifying DJs. Enjoy unmatched customer service just minutes from downtown Montreal, right across the Mercier Bridge. Well settled for ordinary when you can have extraordinary with Playground. Also brought to you in part by Bittt at Tibi. They launched their new Ultra Lager, refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for the summer with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. It's ultra light and ultra refreshing. Without further ado, we'll bring him in. Once again, he is the co-host of the Sick Podcast, The Eye Test. Pierre McGuire, how are you?
Excellent, Tony. Nice to visit with you.
Nice to visit with you as well, Pierre. It was several weeks ago that you told me on the podcast that, in your opinion, the Montreal Canadiens were putting together a defense that was one of the best, if not the best, in the entire National Hockey League. I think about a week or two after you said that, we had Jamie Rivers, who works covering the St. Louis Blues and their games, part of their broadcast team, former NHLer Jason Demers, who works with the NHL Network. And that had just come off of the heels of the Canadiens acquiring Zachary Bolduc, winger, in return for defenseman Logan Mailloux. And Jason had said something about, well, yeah, but he's going to a better defense group with the St. Louis Blues and the Montreal Canadiens. And I said, I beg to differ. And you said, I'm with Tony on this one. Montreal's defense is better than St. Louis's defense. Pierre, let's talk about the Canadiens' defense. And why don't we bring up the depth chart as we see it with 7 defensemen. There you have it on Daily Faceoff. I added in that picture of Arber Xhekaj because they went with their top 6. And according to Daily Faceoff today, well, Arber Xhekaj is not part of their top 6. So I have him in there. Gooley, Dobson, Hutson, Struble, Matheson, Carrier. They have Gooley at left and Dobson at right. Hutson at left and Struble at right. Matheson at left and Carrier at right. You'll notice there that there's 4 left-handed defensemen and 2 right-handed defensemen. The 2 right-handed defensemen are Dobson and Carrier. Struble, who's a lefty, is put on the right side so that Gooley, Hutson, and Matheson can all play left. And I've added Arber Xhekaj's profile in there as, of course, the 7th, who I think, Pierre, could be a 6th on any given night. I think there could be a rotation between him and Jaden Struble. But let's start with this. Dobson and Carrier, 2 natural righties, will play right. Who's the other lefty that should play right and why?
Lane Hutson, because of his escapability. He's not a guy that's going to be pigeonholed on one side of the ice. As a left shot on the right-hand side of the ice, he's got amazing get up and go. So he can open himself up to make the forehand pass through the middle of the ice. He can skate his way out of trouble up the right-hand side of the ice, even though he's on his backhand. And if he really needs to, he can pull up, spin away from traffic, and still move to his left and make a consistent first pass out of his own zone. So I would say of all those guys, I'd rather have Struble on the left, let him play on his strong side, and put Hutson on the right.
You know what? We can have a podcast just on this alone. Let me explain. Some will say, you know what? Take the least effective defenseman you have, put him on his off wing, put him on the third pairing. Don't give him that many minutes. He'll go up against fourth line players. So in the end, he won't be exposed that much. Others will say, take your most capable defenseman, who's your best defenseman, who's got your best IQ, who's got your best escapability, who's got your best hockey mind, put him on his opposite side because he'll be able to navigate it because he's so good and so smart. And others will say, you can't do that because if you have a guy who's so good and he could be the best, why not make sure that he will be at his best and play him in his most comfortable position? This could be a podcast on its own.
It could, definitely. But I just want to throw this at you because I know you were such a fan of the NHL, especially in the 80s and the 90s. There was a guy named Raymond Bourque that played for the Boston Bruins. He was a left shot defenseman. More times than not, he'd play on the left, but I saw him play on the right, and I coached playoff series against him when he played on the right, and he was just so darn good. Different kind of style than Lane, obviously, but that's why I think Lane's okay over there. You know, there are not a lot of guys where I say, 100%, put him on his offside. He's one guy that I'd be really comfortable having there. And the other thing is, I want Struble and Xhekaj more comfortable playing on their strong side. I really do. Carrier is going to be great. The acquisition of Dobson's fantastic. And there's one name we're leaving out, and I totally understand it, David Reinbacher. He's a right shot D. I mean, pretty soon this D is going to be unbelievably good. And, you know, when I made the statement to you that their defense is going to be as good or better than anybody's in the league, and I said 1 through 10, I didn't say 1 through 8. I said 1 through 10 because that's how deep their defense is getting. And it's not just at the NHL level, it's at the American Hockey League level as well.
You know, I'm going to get to Reinbacher in just a second because you're right. I think most people have him starting in Laval, but some people can see him starting in Montreal as early as this year. So we're going to talk about that. But I want to talk to you again about Hutson because I saw Hutson go down the left side and be obviously extremely comfortable and take an amazing wrist shot, I think, versus the Philadelphia Flyers and score right under the bar. But I think of Hutson and when he played on the right side. When he's playing on the right side, he's stick handling, but now all of a sudden he could cut towards the inside of the ice and he has so much more ice in front of him to play with. And he's got a better view at the net where he can get probably even a better shot away coming off the right side because when he cuts into that area. So there's no doubt in my mind that Hutson can play the right side for sure he can. But would it make him more susceptible to carrying the puck? And we already know that he loves to carry it all. And is there a fear in your opinion that he can probably maybe expose himself a little bit more and get tagged?
I think that could happen on either side of the ice for him, but it's a fair point. What's going to happen this year, and people are going to watch the tape of the Washington series, obviously. You know what happened in that. They turned the first 2 games of that series, Washington, that is, into a street fight, and they identified certain players. Nick Suzuki was one of those players. Brendan Gallagher was one of those players, and Lane Hutson was clearly one of those players.
I'll add Caulfield.
And even, and Cole too, 100%. Yeah. So they identified those guys, and they went after them. People are going to see that, and they're going to say, okay, well, in an 82-game schedule, you can't game plan for those 4 guys, but you can for one guy, especially that one guy that's going to be playing on the first power play and getting a bushel of minutes. So he's going to have to adjust a little bit too, and he's going to need help from his partner. So you're not playing him with a smaller guy. You're going to play him with a smarter, bigger guy. Exactly.
He's too smart. It won't work. He's too smart. Yeah, you're right. In the playoffs, they tried to hit him every chance they got. Mm-hmm. The referees put their whistles away for the most part. They let a lot more go. Yep. but and players are coming at you at 120%. They're not going to do that. They can't do that in an 82 game season. They got to pace themselves. The teams are going to be playing 15, 16, 17 times 2 games in 2 nights.
Yeah,
they won't have that juice. They won't. I think Hudson's too smart. That's why, look, all of last season, you talked about the playoffs, right? But name me once in the regular season where he got tagged.
I only saw one time where he got tagged. It was an exhibition game against Toronto.
Yeah.
That was it.
You're right.
It was the only time.
Yeah,
and he was a young kid. He was up against the boards. He was probably trying to be a little too cute with the puck, and he got rammed. He got smoked pretty good. But outside of that, I can't. And I watch every Canadiens game like you do. Heck, you and I did. How many games at post-game shows? A lot. Yeah. And no, I don't remember where I can say, oh, yeah, they definitely target him and they made him pay a price. The one thing that I'm excited about with him, and you brought it up, Tony, when he's playing on the right side and he gets to the inside part of the ice, that puck is on his forehand. It's exposed to all 4 corners of the net. His shot's going to be a whack better, Tony. It's not going to be a little bit better this year. It's going to be a lot better. Just because of the maturity, because of the strength, because of the core strength, but because of the amount of time he's putting in with it. I think he's going to be an amazingly, even though he was great last year, I think he's going to be even better this year.
I gotta tell you something. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's got a blast and he can shoot a puck through a wall. No. He has a lot better shot than a lot of people think he does.
He does. I agree with that. But I think it's going to be better this year, my friend. I think it'd be better.
If people listening or watching don't think that Lane Hutson's in the 90 plus miles per hour shot, they're wrong, because he is.
Yeah,
he is. And so who knows? Like, he's obviously got to work on it. But when he perfects it, you're right, and he gets it at its best, and that becomes another weapon, another tool in his toolbox, and it's something else that he could use and unleash. My God, I mean, that's going to make him so much more dangerous. So now, anyway, let's talk about this defense, okay? You talked about Hutson. Name me the best defense partner for him. I think this is going to lead to an interesting discussion.
Yeah, I think it will too. If you were to ask me the perfect world at this point, I would want, if he's playing on the right side, I would want Caden Gooley. If he was playing on the left side, I would want Alex Carrier right now. I'm not saying in my down the road fantasy world, I think it's David Reinbacher.
Yeah, you know what? I've talked to a couple of people who think that Reinbacher could be that guy right away. Now, I don't know about that, because when I went to watch him in Laval, I saw a defenseman who impressed me, who I thought was sound, but I saw a defenseman that I think needs more time there. However, and I can't wait to hear your answer on this, is it possible that you take that player out of Laval, you put him in the National Hockey League, he's the same player, but he looks so much better because he's playing with players who can complement him better and who can read the game just the way he can as well. And maybe there weren't enough players in Laval who could actually complement them the way they can in Montreal.
100%. And I can speak to that through unbelievable experience. I've had 3 guys that I've worked with that have gone through that. One was Paul Stanton in Pittsburgh when he left Muskegon to come play for us in Pittsburgh. He'd be one. He looked way better in the NHL than he did in the IHL. Another one was Lance Pitlick. When I had Lance in Ottawa, he was playing for us in Prince Edward Island. We brought him up to the NHL. He looked like a completely different player. And the third guy is Dan Kesmer, who was part of a national championship team at Lake Superior State. I had him in Hartford. When he played in Springfield, you would never have thought he could play in the NHL. When he played in the NHL, he was a very, very good NHL defenseman.
The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all North America, driven to be different. They're also a top fleet employer in Canada, per Forbes magazine. I want to give a shout-out to Fruiterie de l'Art, a family-run business, a mainstay in the LaSalle community since 1995. And I also want to welcome to the team somebody that you know very well, Pierre, I would imagine, and that is Paul Momesso. Sergio's brother, is working at Fruiterie de Lard now. They're proud to continue offering the same fresh foods and flavors that they have for the past 30 years, from fresh fruits and produce delivered daily to an ever-expanding assortment of deli meats, cheeses, and sandwiches. You'll find personalized service and friendly faces that make you feel like family. Tasso runs a fantastic establishment at Fruiterie de Lard in LaSalle. I've been going there since 1995. In ending, you can go all the way with Betway. If you want to get in on the action, get a free bet up to $200. If your first bet loses, scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in detail section to create an account. Redeem your welcome offer. Offers only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offers not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please play responsibly. Pierre, the hockey news a couple of weeks ago had a piece on the Montreal Canadiens, took a look at their entire prospect pool, took a look at the strengths of the organization and the weaknesses. And there's something that they wrote. It's an article courtesy of Tony Ferrari. Give him credit for that. I want to bring it up on the weaknesses. The Habs don't really have a weakness, especially they have so many young players on the NHL roster in weaker positions of their prospect pool. Now, this is talking about young players, Pierre. Any defense group will weaken when players like Hutson and Gouli graduate to the NHL roster, but the Habs still have Reinbacher coming along and interesting prospects such as Konyushkov and Engstrom, who are still developing. Now, once again, just to give the context of this article, okay? It's an article on prospect pools of organizations, and for the most part, prospect pools are U23 players, okay? 23 years of age and younger. And so this is what they talk about. And they say the Canadiens still have Reinbacher coming along, interesting prospects such as Konyushkov and Engstrom, who are still developing. I want to bring up David Reinbacher's hockey DB. Okay. Played for Cloton, played 3 seasons there for, I believe, at least 3 different coaches. He played in Laval last year and this past season, 11 games last year, 10 games this past season, played 13 games in the playoffs. The point totals, I think, are interesting. 5 points in 11 games in Laval a year ago, 5 points in 10 games this past season, 6 points in 13 playoff games. So, look, he's averaging a point every other game. Pierre, I've had a chance to see him. He's got a good stick. He's positionally sound. He's not overly extravagant or elegant. Makes the right play. Smart defenseman. A lot of people think that Reinbacher is ready for showtime. Pierre, some people think he's not, that 34 games at the American Hockey League level is not enough, but others will say, hey, hold on a second. Playing in Switzerland, that's not an easy league. You're playing with men in that league, and it's one of the best pro leagues in the world. I know you know everything about the American Hockey League and about the NHL and the Swiss League as well. Pierre, your thoughts?
You're right about that. First of all, the Swiss League is very good. It develops players. One of our good friends, Max Lapierre, played there at the end of his career. He could tell you how good a league it is.
And
it's
if I can add to that, Max still has a lot of contacts there, and his contacts told him, Max, this Reinbacher kid, he's really good.
Yeah. I did not know that Max knew that, but I can tell you, I watch him play a lot, and he's really good. I'd like to get him a little more seasoning because he doesn't require waivers yet. A little more seasoning in the American Hockey League where he can kind of take charge of games, Tony. I think right now he's through that feeling out process. I think this year he'll be ready to take charge in games. And if he's going to play eventually, let's just say with Lane Hutson, he's going to have to understand when you're on the ice with Lane Hutson, he'll be in charge of the game, but you're going to be playing in big minutes. You're going to be playing in big moments of the game. You're going to have to be able to handle that. And I think eventually when he takes charge of games in the American League, that will allow him to just improve at the National League level. So I don't have a problem going back. I think he probably should go back for just a little while, not a whole long time, but a little while. I still think he's going to be a very good player for 10 to 12 years in the National Hockey League. Very good player.
Pierre, and a player can't have everything. I get that. Does Reinbacher, in your opinion, have that bite that you need to be a really difficult player to play? Like, it's one thing to be a difficult player to play against when you're very good at playing the puck. It's another thing to be a difficult player to play against when, you think twice about going down that defenseman's side because he could be nasty. Does he have that bite? And if he doesn't, does he need to have that bite to be as good as he can be?
He'll need a little bit more bite in his game. There's no question. Now you're talking to somebody that had the privilege of coaching Alfie Samuelson, who had significant bite, and another guy named Gordy Roberts, who was an unbelievably old pro, but played with tons of bite. And then I had Christopher Pronger. As a 19-year-old, you should have seen the bite that guy had. So I've coached players that have had lots of bite, but the thing about Reinbacher is I think he can get that. I talked about Paul Stanton before. Paul became a very useful player in our teams when he got harder to play against. Jimmy Pack played on our 2 championship teams in Pittsburgh. Yeah. He got a lot more bite as he went along because we worked with him every day on establishing that. And Jimmy became very, very important to our team. I think a player like David Reinbacher, who's got, I would say, more NHL upside than Jimmy Pack or Paul Stanton, if he can get a little bit more bite like those guys got, he becomes a very critical player for your team.
Talking about this Hutson thing for a while, I'm of the school where I want my best players to be happy. I'm of that school where I want my best employees to be happy. Whether it's hockey, whether it's radio, whether it's television, it doesn't matter, any field.
Yep.
I want the best players and the best employees to be treated right and to be happy. And I'm sure that Lane Hutson's been treated right. But his contract for guys like me, you, Max Lapierre, probably anybody, probably would have been done by now, but it isn't. That's okay. It's the Canadiens' choice. They could still wait another year if they want. And maybe their thinking is, this guy's coming off winning the Calder. This guy's coming off of equaling an NHL record for 60 assists for a rookie defenseman in the National Hockey League. He probably won't do better in points next year. He probably won't have as good of a season. And I'm not saying that they're going to cross their fingers that he won't do well, because if he does well, at that point, they'll be happy. They'll just give it to him. But why hasn't this been done?
Because there's a new collective bargaining agreement that just got signed. And if you look at what happened in the news recently, Jackson Blake down in Carolina, they didn't have to do his contract. He still had a year left on entry level. Rather than give him the new collective bargaining agreement, which is starting in a year and a half or 2 years, they're giving him this on this collective bargaining agreement. So they gave him 8 years. In the next collective bargaining agreement, you can only give 7. So I would say a player like Lane Hutson, the Canes are going to say here, not too far down the road, we're going to get this deal done because we want to give Lane 8 years. We want to keep him as long as we can, and we want him to know how much we appreciate him. We're going to actually negotiate a deal for him before his entry level expires. I think that says a lot to a young player. And again, if they're going to do that, there's always a trade. The trade's going to be, the agent's going to say, well, then he's got to be your highest paid defenseman. And so the Canes will go, okay, we'll give him more than Dobson. But we're not going to give him X times 2 over Dobson. We're just going to give him a little more over Dobson.
But they should give him more than Dobson because, yes, with all due respect to Noah Dobson,
yep,
it took him 5 years to do what Lane Hutson did in year 1. But what's more impressive is that Lane Hutson did it as a 21-year-old rookie, and he tied a league record.
Yeah, we're on the same team. You and I are speaking.
He's a phenom. He's a phenom. He's a phenom. I would give it to him. But you see, Pierre, I understand. I like the Dobson trade, okay? And I actually think I think it's going to work out for both teams, okay?
Yep.
I like the Dobson trade. And I know that they came to an agreement and they gave him his 8-year contract extension of $9.5 million. And I understand it wasn't July 1st yet, and the Canadiens could not have signed Lane Hutson. But you know as well as I do that there's deals that you work out in late June that you can actually announce in July. I would have come to an agreement with Hutson before giving Noah Dobson that contract.
Yeah, no, that's fair. The only thing I'll say is, again, there was a new collective bargaining agreement that was being worked on. And so Lane is in a different situation than Noah.
I hear you.
So that's why I think there's this little hesitation. I could be totally wrong on this. Maybe the Canes are going to play hardball with the player. I don't believe they will. I don't think this is a hard negotiation. You know, I just
you definitely wouldn't do that, right? You wouldn't play hardball with a player like this who loves Montreal.
He's a keeper. He's your player. He's going to be your internal cap guy. So if let's just say he goes to 10. Let's just say he goes to 10. Let's just say he does. Okay, so
I you know what? If I'm the Canadiens, I'd be happy to sign it if he says
that's
10.
what I'm saying. What's a big deal about that? It's not a big deal.
No big deal at all.
No.
Erik Karlsson's making 11.5.
Well, yeah.
Seth Jones making 9.5.
I'm going to let you take that point and run with it.
All right. All right. Okay. So now let's bring up the Canadiens depth chart again of the 7th defenseman. You said something. I think you said if Lane Hutson is playing right D, you would play him with Gouli, who's playing left.
Yes.
If Lane Hutson is playing left D, you would play him with Carrier on the right.
Mm-hmm.
If Hutson is playing lefty and he's playing with Carrier, who's not the biggest guy either, but definitely not the smallest, is there a fear that Carrier, in an ideal world, would need to be a little bit more physical or maybe have a little bit more bite to actually be next to Lane so that other teams don't take liberties? Like, would you like Lane more with Caden because you could see Caden being kind of a protector for Lane?
Yeah, that's why. Yes. So Caden's got a little bit more bite. I've been watching Caden since he played in Prince Albert. Then he went to Edmonton. So I've watched him a lot in the junior leagues in the West. One of his old coaches, a very good friend of mine. We talked a lot about Caden before he even got drafted. So I'm pretty familiar with the player and the personality the player has. And yeah, there's a more bite situation to his game than most of the guys in the Canadiens defense. My only concern about Caden, I think you probably have the same one, Tony, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. I worry a bit about the injury situation for him.
Yeah.
There have been some injuries because he is overly robust in a good way, not a bad way.
Yeah.
And I want him to have that long career that he should have because he is a really good first-round pick. He's been a very good player. You can't legislate against injuries, but I just want to try to protect him as much as possible. But in a perfect world, if you got Hutson on the right, I think Caden Gouli is his best partner on the left.
Yeah, no, I think that would be, By the way, I know you're talking about Mark Habscheid, I would imagine, who coached him there for 3 seasons.
Yes.
There's something that stands out for me. In Caden Gouli's first year with the Prince Albert Raiders, the assistant coach was?
Dave Manson.
Dave Manson. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, see, you tried to catch me.
No, I knew I wasn't going to catch you. But all I'm getting at is, you know what? If Dave Manson showed Caden Gouli a thing or two and he can implement that in his game, that nastiness that we talked about, that can make him a pretty complete defenseman.
One of the coolest things that I had a chance to do when I was working at the beginning of my broadcast career was spend time with Dave Manson when he was part of the Montreal Canadiens. I had coached so many games against David when he was in other places, whether it was Winnipeg, Chicago, it didn't matter. David was a nasty piece of business, Tony. But when you sat down and talked to him, he's an amazing man. He's a special guy.
The toughest guys usually are. Maybe I can catch you on something.
Okay.
I'll try. I don't think I will, but I'll try.
Yeah, you probably will.
No, I don't think I will. It's not a hard, but I don't think I will. But we'll see. Dave Manson, as you know, his throat his voice is a little rough.
You got cross-checked in the throat.
Or punched in the throat. Was it a cross-check or
I think
a punch?
It was a cross-check. But
you know who did it?
I'm going to say, was it Sergio Momesso?
This guy's the best, man. This guy's the best. I cannot get you, McGuire.
I thought it would be Sergio. By the way, I got to tell you one thing. People, I know in Montreal, but when Sergio played in Vancouver, I'm telling you, Tony, they were big, they were mean, and Sergio was a nasty piece of business. Man, oh man, like back then, people in the East didn't watch games from the West. I was coaching them, I was watching, I was scouting them. Sergio was a tough son of a gun, man. He was tough as nails.
Yeah, they could use a Sergio on the third line or on the fourth line for sure. There's no doubt about it. He actually, you know what? He dropped the gloves on a couple of occasions too when he played with the St. Louis Blues when guys took liberties on Brett Hall and stuff like that.
Hall and Oates, my God, for sure.
You know how to defend himself. For sure. Let's go back to the depth chart again. We're talking about the defense that the Montreal Canadiens are putting together. Gouli. You said you would see him with Lane Hutson if Gouli's playing left and Hudson's playing right. No Dobson. Yep. If Hutson is playing left, Gouli with Dobson?
Gouli with Dobson, or I would go Matheson with Dobson, Gouli with Carrier.
Is Matheson with Dobson defensive enough? You have two guys that really love to handle the puck.
They do. The thing about Michael that I think is going to be really interesting this year with Dobson being there, he's going to be basically taken out of any power play situation, I think that keeps him fresher. I think it keeps him better defensively. And I think they'll be able to bring his minutes down from 28 or 27 down to maybe 21, 22. And for a thoroughbred, and Michael's a thoroughbred because of the way he skates, I think that helps him. And I think they could be good enough. Yes, the answer is yeah.
Let's say they put Matheson with Dobson.
Yep.
Can you tell Mike Matheson, Mike, you handle the puck quite a bit last couple of years. You did a really good job at it. You probably don't have to do it as much this time around. We got Noah Dobson. He wants to handle a little bit more. Can you have that conversation with him? Because let's be honest, Mike's going in a contract year.
Yep.
If that's not going to be settled and he's not going to be playing the power play, Mike Matheson wants to pick up points, because if his next contract's not going to be here, it's going to be somewhere else. He's going to want to handle the puck. He's going to want to create offense. He's going to want to pick up points. You know, I'm wondering, and Mike would buy in either way. I think he's a great team guy.
Yep.
If it would not be a great opportunity to have that conversation right away and maybe assure him if he is going to stay here and try and get it done. And then at that point, maybe he can be happier with maybe not holding on to the puck as much or not carrying the puck, and because he can have that contract behind him.
You should be able to have that conversation with any player. I mean, with all due respect, no disrespect meant to Mike Matheson, but we've had that conversation as a coaching staff with Paul Coffey. You know, I've had that conversation with Chris Pronger. I've had that conversation with a bunch, the late Zarli Zalapsky, you know, who was really good with the puck, and he could skate and he could wire the thing. So, yeah, you got to be able to have those conversations. You don't make it personal. You try to explain to the player how it's not just going to help the team, it's going to help him too. And I think for Michael, the biggest thing is if he shows the consistency that I know he's capable of, that's what you sell him on. Once you become that really consistent, reliable, 21 to 23 minute a game defenseman, your value goes up. It doesn't matter what your points are. People saw what happened with the Florida Panthers last year. They saw how valuable is Aaron Ekblad. If he had gone to market, worth a lot of money.
He's
more than
unbelievable.
what Matheson's making right now.
Ekblad, unbelievable. Forsling, unbelievable. Seth Jones, unbelievable. And how about Mikkola as your fourth?
That's what I'm saying. So that's all I'm saying. So you look at them. Those guys were all reliable. They were all consistent. And what speaks to that consistency and the reliability is they could keep all those guys fresh. And that's why they didn't just beat Edmonton the last two games, 5 and 6. They pulverized them.
They destroyed them. Where's Arber Xhekaj in this equation? According to Daily Faceoff, he's not there in your top 6.
Yeah.
Where is he?
I think he's an important part of the team because people are going to try to take liberties with this team. They are tougher. I don't want Bolduc fighting all the time. And as much as Josh Anderson's a really good fighter, you don't want him fighting all the time either. And I'm not saying Arber just can fight, because Arber can fight, but Arber's got to do more to help himself. It's about understanding how and when to do it. I've said this a million times. It's not because he's a friend of yours or a friend of mine. And I know that he's had chalks with him. If I were the Canadiens, just like he had Mark Bureau working with the centerman on faceoffs, Christopher Nyland would be around my team. And he would be talking to guys like Arber Xhekaj. He'd be going into Laval and talking to some of the guys. Because those are the guys, they understand how to do that role. I can just tell you that's a tough, hard role, and not everybody can figure it out.
Yeah, Chris obviously did. He not only defended his teammates, he had a couple of seasons of 20 goals. All right, Adam Engstrom. I want to bring up his hockey DB, and we'll end it with Adam.
Okay.
Yep. There we go. Adam played 66 games last year with the Laval Rocket. You saw that he played in Sweden for several teams before that.
Those two, just so everybody knows, Tony.
Yeah.
Djurgården Gardens is in Stockholm. It's a very good program, and Rogala is on the west coast of Sweden. It's just south of Gothenburg. It is a legendary program. It is a big time, really good program.
So this guy went to a good school. He went to a couple of good schools.
He went to 2 really good programs. Adam Engstrom, very good.
21, turns 22 in the middle of November. He's 6'2". He's about 200 pounds. He shoots left. Pierre, I went to see him in the playoffs. I don't know if he's ever going to be able to put up really good offensive numbers, but I saw a lot of things that to me translated to a one-day National Hockey League player for sure.
So I'm going to ask you one thing, if you agree with me or not on this.
Yeah.
The one thing that stood out to me about all the games I watched Adam Engstrom play, very comfortable with the puck on his stick and made really good decisions deep in his own zone. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
So that's why I think he becomes an NHL defenseman. Those guys that have that high panic point, they can hold it a little bit longer for guys to break free. Adam Engstrom does that. He does it really well.
I saw the Charlotte Checkers intimidating the Laval Rocket. They're all over them and stuff like that. They're a bigger team. They're a stronger team. Even Pascal Vincent said at the end of the year, we have a lot of boys who are tough, but they're not men yet. And I saw a Laval player like on the ice, sprawled on the ice. You know, he just got decked or whatever, and stick infraction or whatever it was in front of the net. And I saw everyone just standing around. I saw Engstrom leave his defense position, went into the scrum, went up to the guy, cross-checked him, and want to stand up for his teammate. I was really impressed. I was like, wow, you know, this kid's got something. I mean, it's not everyone that'll do that. So, Pierre, in ending, if I ask you today, is there a better defense, not only through the top 7 in Montreal, but maybe the top 2 at the American Hockey League level than the Montreal Canadiens off the top of your head? Who would you, who's in that company?
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Well, St. Louis would be in there, but they lost Nick Leddy. People forget that. The Florida Panthers clearly have to be in there. Their defense is very good.
They're amazing. They're the best.
They're very good. Like, I'm not going to pretend, but I think 1 through 10, I think the Canadiens are as good as any defense in the National Hockey League.
Pierre, thanks for doing this. Have a good night.
Great to visit with you, Tony. Thank you.
You too, Pierre. There you have it. Special thanks to our sponsors, to Betway, to Fruit to Read the Lard, to Bittt, to Tibi, to Playground, and to Energy Transportation Group. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love for Shane Gaumont and Master Control. Thanks for watching the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaVie.tv, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.